there. Today's page is to tell the story of my husband and the hat. When we went on vacation this past year to Hilton Head, as we do each year, my husband wanted to bring his fishing hat, but he wasn't bringing any of the rest of his fishing gear. And I didn't understand why until we got down there. He'd planned to exercise in the pool, and he needed a place to put his MP3 player. So he actually has the MP3 player laying on top of his head, and the hat is holding it in place. And I thought this was funny. Obviously, I still think it's funny even months later. Sometimes when you vacation in the same place a lot, you have to look for these different things to scrapbook so you don't have the same old pictures over and over and over again. So I'm using these two photos with this sketch. I'm going to be cropping them a little bit to make them just a little bit smaller and adding some pattern paper. When I laid out the sketch, I wasn't sure what embellishment I wanted, so I just put circles here. I may do something besides circles, but I'm still going to have a 3 embellishment triangle with a visual triangle with my pictures and journaling and all in the center of that. But I have a secondary line here going diagonally on the page with some circles. And you could mist this. I'm actually going to use a circle design. I'm going to be using a mask, and I made this mask myself. I'll have a separate video on masks, either working with purchased ones, or you can make them yourselves if you have, in my case I had a Cricut that I could use to cut my mask, but I'll have a separate video on that. But you could use a mask, or you could stamp or mist or whatever to get this kind of effect going down the page. For my color scheme, I'm drawing from the photos using the blue-green color and some brown, and I've decided to add some yellow in. And I don't need a lot of pattern paper because I'm going to be doing a white background. For embellishments, I thought that I might use some of the word stickers that I have. I have a lot of word stickers that relate to summer, things about the pool and being out in the water and stuff, and I haven't really used these very much. So I've got several different things. I may do something with the cameras. I've got some stamps that relate to summer fun. So I'm thinking of doing some groupings with words in them. And for my groupings, as I say, I wasn't sure I wanted to do a circle. I may do something with a swirl kind of design to go with the water theme, and then build the words into that. So that's my plan, and I'm ready to get started on my page. Okay, I have my mask laid out on my paper with lots of scrap paper covering up the areas that I don't want misted. One other thing I'm going to do to these is line my mask back up with the design and add a little bit more color to some of the dots with some ink. I'm just using an ink pad and a sponge to add a little bit deeper color to a few of these. A little bit more depth of color. One of the first things I do when I start to pull my page together is to go ahead and pull out my thickers or letter stickers that I'm using, because not only the size but the color of the thicker determines often what papers I'm going to be using, because I need to think about what's going to be behind these letters. They're going under this first photo here, and the Your Hat part of this is going to look a lot better on one of the brown papers. and the other colors are probably going to look better on one of the blue papers. So I may end up rearranging a little bit from what's on the sketch and have some brown coming across here, and then probably having a blue go this way, maybe on top of the brown, so that I can put some of these other colors on top of it and they'll show up. Okay, again, just playing with placement and colors and stuff. Yeah, I like the blue on top and the brown on the bottom. I may bring a little bit of yellow paper in over here. And although this is reversed a bit from the sketch, it'll still give me a place to put my embellishment up here above the title, instead of having the title lay on top of it. What I'm looking at for my embellishments, I have this sticker from October Afternoon that I thought I wanted to use along with some other camera motifs, and so I went back to my October Afternoon stickers and found 3 more. They do their stickers so that all of the shapes are the same from collection to collection. They just change the colors and information on each sticker. So I just pulled 3 that were the same size and shape, and they actually all even had some version of teal edging to them. And I'm going to use that as my base for embellishments, and I've added a swirl that I cut with my Cricut. And then on top of these, I'm using some stickers. I had several summary kind of stickers, and this is where I'm going to build my groups of stickers and maybe some other small embellishments. One nice thing about this basic gray magnetic mat is with an October Afternoon sticker, once you put it down, it's there. And with these, I can just stick it to the magnet and move it around and decide whether I like that or not before I'm committed to that particular sticker. Okay, I've created all of my embellishment groups. I just have one little open area here that really needs something, and I have this stamp, an old stamp from Stampin' Up! That I had pulled out and hadn't used yet, so I think I'm going to fill in that space with that. These stamps that have the words in an inverse so that they're, your stamp is actually the background, those really need a very thin ink, like a dye ink, in order to show up. That's not bad. I could probably get a better impression. I may stamp this on a separate piece of paper and punch it out and put over the top of that to really get a final look. I'm not entirely satisfied with that. But that's something, you know, you can always try stamping directly on if you know that you can cover it. And I know that I can, so I may restamp that. One other thing though that I want to do, 2 other things I want to do to finish the layout. I need to put the date on it, so I'm going to put it down here on the bottom using the Dear Lizzie date stamp. And I like to use this one with markers. Again, if it doesn't work out, I can always put a label over it if I'm stamping directly on the layout. But I like to use the markers because then I can color as much or as little as I want. If I don't want the year, or if I don't want the day of the month or whatever, I can do that. Or if I want it in different colors like I'm doing here. I often find after I stamp these, I have to go in and fill in a little bit with a pen. And that's one stamp that I actually rock a little bit because that helps to get the image in place. And the only thing I need to do is fill in that too. Alright, the last thing I'm going to do to the layout, I experimented, I started working on this yesterday, and I experimented and left overnight some raindrops or water drops, like from the pool that I wanted to do, and I wasn't sure what kind of medium. I tried some stickles, some of the rock candy stickles, and I did just some real glittery stickles to see how those would look, and I wasn't entirely satisfied. I wanted to see how they looked dried. I also tried some of the Ranger glossy accents, just putting dots of those, and I really like the look of that. To me, that looks more like water. So that's what I'm going to add to my layout. And these will take a long time to dry, so I'll just put these on and then set it aside. And that completes my layout. Let's take a look at the sketch. I have the 3 embellishment areas that I ended up doing with a rectangle and then some stickers laying on top. I felt like I could make those a little bit busier rather than having just a single embellishment, because my photos were so simple. I had a single subject, very little going on in the background, so I could do a little bit more with the journaling. My title took up 2 rows, and to get the coloring arranged the way I wanted to, I sort of had to flip these papers around, and I added another paper to the bottom, and then I did my circles with the mask, and then added a few little dots of glossy accents for a look of water. So that's my page today. Thank you for joining me today. Be sure and check out my blog where I have the sketch and a PDF with some additional details about this page.